And this should be live. Hello, Crow. How you doing? I need to share this on Patreon. I forgot to do that. I forget that not everybody gets notifications, even if they've turned them on, which is super annoying. How was your Christmas, Crow? Oh, shoot. I took my glasses off and tried to read the screen. Ah. Hey, damn gypsy. Hey. How was your Christmas? Mine was good. It was relaxing. Am I sad when it's over? Hey, Evan the Nerd. Hello. Hello, Governor. Trying to send a message to my patrons to let them know. I usually remember to do that early, but I forgot this morning, so my bad. Very sorry. But that's why I also posted it in the community tab yesterday, so that would kind of give everybody a heads up. I drank 3 full cups of coffee yesterday and couldn't get off my couch. And this morning I woke up super early and energized. So whatever I had is kind of going away, although my throat's a little sore. My face feels a little hot, but I don't feel like I'm going to die like I did yesterday. Sending that to the patrons, just in case they want to join. I got a deck of gift cards. Nice. Getting those after Christmas discounts. I need to go to the store too and get like proper storage stuff for my ornaments. We had to throw a bunch of them away because mice got into our attic and got into them. I had to throw a ton of ornaments away, and now I have a ton missing. Personalized ones, stuff that kids made me very sad. Good morning, Logan. Evan says, my Christmas was fine. I'm waiting for some books to arrive. Ooh. I love books, but I love my Kindle because it lights up, the screen lights up, and then I can read at night without the light on. So I really love that. I'm never going to stop. Even if I don't use the rest of the things, I'll always use a reader like that. But I do also love books in general. I like to collect books. It doesn't mean I always read the paperback ones, but I like to have them, in the event of an apocalypse, I have something to do besides, slave away at a garden that I have no skills at doing and trying to make clothes for myself, which is going to be terrible. Anyways, 2 days, 10 books. Whoa, wow. Does anyone have any audiobooks that can recommend me? I have a few of ones that I did. What's one that I really listened to? What's that lady? The wife of Threadbanger. Well, she's the lady partner of Threadbanger. She was listening to Harry Potter on audiobooks one day. She said that's what she does when she's cleaning or crafting. She listens to the Harry Potter audiobooks, and the guy gets really into the voices. So she said that was really good. Even if you're not in Harry Potter, I think it would be entertaining to listen to the books that way. Let's see. I have a few things set aside. We left off on alien abduction stories last time. Well, actually, we left off on horrible cakes. And also Monday night, my husband and I tried to record something for you guys, and twice. We tried to record something for you twice, and it turned out horrible. The first time, we were sitting there just looking at the screen and not saying a lot. The second time, I sneezed 7 times into the microphone, and after that, I was done. Just got done reading or watching Rosemary's Baby, and the ending was frustrating. The new one or the old one? I think there's a new version too, if I'm not mistaken. I can be wrong. I'm wrong a lot. Got a bunch of candy. That's a good gift. Stuffing your face is always a good gift, I think. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. close that thing out there. Okay. A miniseries. An audiobook of Rosemary's Baby, the old one. Oh, I always thought that the book would be better, especially, was it the way the person read it, or was the ending just disappointing? The movie ending, I think, is confusing anyway if you don't understand the fact that what happened. Chocolate, put it all in the freezer. Oh. I love to have like peanut butter cups or Snickers in the freezer. Actually, Snickers ice cream bar is really good too. Oh my gosh. I'm not even hungry and that sounds good. Rosemary's Baby was recently remade as a miniseries. Sorry for being... Oh. Where can we see that at? The ending was just like end middle of a scene. Wow. Wife and son are both at work, so being lazy and curling up with the pibble. I love being on vacation. YouTube surprisingly has a good amount of great horror audiobooks. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Hey, Tim Willis. You're awesome. I hope you had a great Christmas. I did. I hope you did too. I was actually shocked. I don't think I've been shocked on a Christmas. Usually it's all, we like that for the kids. But this year I was like stunned. Hey, Gling. Hey. On TV? Is it something that's on Netflix or it's like on a channel that we can all find somewhere? Rob Estrada, hello. Have you had a Terry's chocolate orange? I've had a chocolate orange before. They're good. And I mean like a chocolate covered orange. And it's like a chocolate in the shape of an orange and you crack it, like you tap it and it kind of comes apart in orange like slices, but it's all chocolate and it's got orange flavoring in it. So I've had both kinds. They're good. You would be surprised. I think people would be surprised how good that is. Rob Estrada, hello. I think I just said that. Hello. We're going to read. Oh, yeah. What's a pibble? Is that like your laptop? Or is that a drink? Crow is English, I believe, or British. I think. Some slang I don't understand still. Hell yeah. We're going to read alien stories and then some angel encounters. I was going to do that for a video, but I also think that now that the new year's coming in, I'm going to do one live stream a week. Starting next week, I'll do like, I don't know what day. I'll do a poll and see what day is best for everybody, but maybe Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday on the channel. So Tuesday or Thursday would be a live stream, and then Tuesday or Thursday would be like pastas again, and then Saturday would be the true stories or serial killer Saturday, and that way I can still do 2 for Patreon. Ooh, oh yeah, pitbull. Oh, pit bulls were actually bred to protect their families. If pit bulls are violent, it is because of the owner and their environment, and that's a fact. Are we having New Year's aliens? Haha. Hey, Autumn. Hey. Make you live stream Mondays, so at least on Mondays we have one good thing to look forward to. Haha. I'm a Michigander. I just use strange jargon, the curse of being an English major. Oh, I didn't know you were a Michigander, Crow. What? I did not know that. Let's see. Let's scroll up here. You're on vacation, you said? Nice. Lucky duck. Okay. Now that everybody's here, I think that's going to come. We waited a good 10 minutes. We left off on alien stories, but there was 100 of them. And we had only read like, we had only read the ones that were like better known. We didn't even get to the personal stories, the unreported personal alien. Maybe we did read a couple of those, like 4. I think we got into 4 of them. I don't know. I'll read the first one and then you guys will have to tell me if we read that one or not. Grand Rapids. Oh, yeah. A troll or a youper? He's a troll. Hey, Schmeister. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Trying to think of where we left off here. Hold on. So I'm just going to start reading. If I read this last time, you guys just comment. And I think, remember I said we would read a couple of them, but I don't think I read any of these. I don't remember reading any of these. I already asked people before, hey, dadgummit Black House and Pepper. Phantom's on, hey. Oh, I will try to move the mic away from my mouth, but I swear, oh no, once I start sneezing, it gets bad. So maybe don't have headphones in if you can avoid it. So I'm sorry in advance if I sneeze into the microphone. Thank you. I don't want to blow your eardrums out. Anyways, thank you. Thank you for the bless yous. And I'm really sorry. Kind of came on unprovoked. Ooh, at least it wasn't one of my achoo. Usually they're really loud. So again, please take your earphones out if you have them in, so I don't make you deaf. Okay. Let's see. Number 1, and again, if I've read this, stop me. I was traveling back home. Number 1. I was traveling back home with my mom from my aunt's house on a warm, sunny afternoon. While I was sitting in the passenger seat, an object just appeared in the sky a little to our left. We both saw it immediately. The size of it is what was shocking more than anything. It had the classic saucer shape and was shining brightly because the sun was reflecting off of it. We continued driving down the road a few seconds, just admiring this craft, when all of a sudden we saw something I still don't believe to this day. It just vanishes, disintegrates, disappears, whatever you want to call it. I looked back at my mom, and I could tell by her expression she had seen the same thing. Since this sighting, I've always been interested in UFOs and the possibility of other life in our universe. This object in the sky was definitely not a helicopter, airplane, or flock of geese. My mom and I still talk about this sighting we had and can't come up with a reasonable explanation as to what we saw that day. That's my UFO story, and it's not a hoax or fabrication. Everyone always laughs at me when I tell the story, and that's fine. I know what I saw. Do you guys recall me reading that already? Oh, yeah. It's terrible when you have a sneezing fit, too, because it's like you want it to stop, but it just won't. You know what's funny is we live in town here, but I mean, where we're at, it's starting like the lots get bigger and bigger as you go out. Like we don't have a big house, but we have a big yard. And above us, it's clear open sky. And it's like a direct line, like from the Flint airport to like the Detroit or Florida. So we see a lot of aircraft go over our house. And we often see things that you can't really make out what they are, daytime and nighttime. Hi. So I don't know. We've caught a few things like on video or picture, but by the time you take it on video, unless you have a really great camera, which we don't, it's really hard to make out what it is. So it's hard to go back and explain to people what you've seen when you can't really catch it on video. It's very annoying. So I can imagine if you had an even more legitimate experience and then people don't believe you, that would be really frustrating. I believe that would be extremely frustrating. Okay, we're going to move on to number 2. I'm going to take a little sip of my coffee because my throat is a little raw. I hope no one else gets sick. I was really hoping I wouldn't like be really, really sick. That would be awful. Used to lose my voice every winter time for like 2 weeks. No talking at all. It was terrible. Number 2. I've always felt some encounter stories were real, but what made me truly believe was one night standing outside watching the stars. It was late, maybe 2 a.m., and out in the country, so it was dark. No street lights, very little, no moon. I was watching what I thought was a satellite moving from across the sky from right to left. Didn't think twice about it as I saw them all the time. Suddenly, the satellite stopped and shot off fast, completely disappeared at a 45-degree angle from the direction it came. I read this one already. I just realized that. I've never seen a satellite change direction ever. It startled me so much I stood there for a bit wondering if I really saw it or not, but I did, 100% certain. And it's unfortunate that no one was there with me that night to see it. Yeah, I remember reading that one too. Wow, my voice is like really like, ugh. I feel like Phoebe when she got her cold on Friends and she had the sexy voice. Stick his shoes. I saw something strange in the sky, but it happened so fast. I'm not sure what it was. Right, exactly. Because you never know if you live near an air base, which I think we have an air base like southwest of us, about an hour southwest of us. So it's totally plausible that, classified objects could be either in existence or being tested. So if you live anywhere near an airbase, that would probably be a plausible explanation, but you never know. Saw something over 10 years ago, moving unnaturally and changing from blue to red to white. I thought it was a star exploding. Whoa! Man, that would have been really cool to see. Some of these things, like, I bet you if you could explain it to someone who can digitally create these things, and then they created it, would be an amazing thing to see on screen, even if it wasn't the firsthand experience. But if they could capture what you saw, that would be great. It was bizarre, and I felt uncomfortable. Not a good experience. Oh, because your eyes were making your brain question what you were seeing. Yeah. That happens even in non-alien scenarios. When you see someone doing something, you're like, is this really happening? Okay. Maybe 8 or 10 years ago, I was with my dad and younger brother returning home to my mom's house when we were driving along this road and forest on either side. My dad noticed it first and said, "Look at that." Pointing up through the sunroof, and maybe 20 meters or 21 yards above us or less was this big, dark, gray circle. I read this one already, but I'll finish it. And these bright white circular lights, all the same size and equally spaced apart. It wasn't moving, or it wasn't moving fast, and wasn't making any noise as far as I could tell, although we were in a Land Rover. Is that what they mean? Yes, I remember I said that last time. I'm going to go to the next one. Do you guys remember me saying that last time too? Let's see. I once saw a strange creature, but it was just my friend Jeremy streaking, wearing only his mohawk through the neighborhood drunk. Again, freaking Jeremy. Nice. I had a weird experience, but more on the ghost demon thing, and like you can buy the book involved in Amazon. Well, tell us what the title is so we can check it out, man. Yeah. And if you have a link, even better, but maybe just you've encountered a ghost before. Ooh, we will get to that in a second. Number 4, I don't know if I read this either. I think I did. I'm going to skip that one. Number 5. Let me see this one. Nope, I did read that one, but there's like tons of them, so we're good. All right, we're going to try this one because I don't think I did read this one. Number 6, 2010 Los Angeles. I was cleaning up around my apartment when I noticed my kitchen lamp swinging and my building rocking. Obviously an earthquake. It lasted for a bit, and I called my friend to make sure she was okay. As we were chatting, I was standing out on my balcony, which overlooks Runyon Canyon, a popular hiking trail. I suddenly noticed this object hovering high in between the mountains. It was way too high to be a helicopter, and too small to be a low plane. Too small and low to be a plane. What made it super strange was its shape and lack of movement. It was orb-esque and stood stagnant for about solid 3 minutes before moving at a snail's pace to the west. I'm talking slower than any aircraft, blimp, kite, whatever, that I've ever seen. It also seemed to reflect off of the sun, but only at some angles. I grabbed my crappy digital camera and tried to capture it as best I could. After moving toward the left, and then once again staying completely still, it immediately darted at what seemed like an impossible speed in the opposite direction, upward, and disappeared. Plain old man-made government or other, it was one of the weirdest, best sightings I've ever experienced, especially since it was in broad daylight. When I looked through the pictures, I thought I got nothing, but after zooming in, I noticed the object showing up in there. I don't have Photoshop or anything, so it's not the clearest quality, but hey, still neat. They should have posted a picture of it so I could have shared it with you, but they didn't. Okay. Hey, Roger, hey. Let me see here. What did I miss? Hey, Tara, hey. And I said hi to Roger. Hey, Jerry, hello. You're listening and gaming. What are you playing, Autumn? And as I ask that, I'm moving on to number 7 and taking a sip of coffee to coat my sore throat. Ooh, so sorry if you could hear me swallow the liquids. I don't know how good this microphone picks up things, but I really hope that you can't hear that. I was driving back home to Los Angeles with a friend of mine, after visiting family near Phoenix, Arizona. Hold on a second, sorry. We were headed west on Highway 58, just out of Boron, California, en route to Mojave to catch the 14. Okay, I feel like I just had my head spinning around. Anyway, it was night, and we were jamming out to some music. The next thing I know, I'm waking up, looking around, and realizing that I was pulled over on the side of the road, and that approximately 3 hours had passed. My buddy was fast asleep, so I woke him up, and we both kind of had a psychological meltdown. After we calmed down a little, we went home and never spoke of it since. I have absolutely no idea when or how we transitioned from listening to loud music and driving down the road to waking up safe on the side of the road. Whoa. I have a funny story about that kind of. I get to leave early, work early, 2 hours. Woo! Tropicats. Played Last of Us during the holidays. I just tried modded Skyrim recently. Haven't slept right in 2 weeks. Oh. Number 8. When I was 12 or so, I felt something hard and round in my earlobe. I told everyone, and they said it was just an under-the-skin zit. Pretty normal for someone my age. But it was there for 6 months. Annoyed, I decided to do some self-surgery. I could feel it very near the surface. Poked a hole in my ear with a sterilized needle, blood fucking everywhere. I could feel this thing, and I squeezed up toward the hole. It just pierced. Out pops this tiny metal ball, maybe half the size of a BB. It was black metal, completely spherical, with an indentation around the center, and a teeny tiny golf ball-like indentations. As I was rolling it around my blood-covered fingers, it slipped, spun around the sink a couple of times, and fell down the drain. At 12, I had no idea what the fuck to do with it, and my parents didn't believe a word I said and told me to just put some tea tree oil on it on my zits next time. I've never had anything like it since. Haha. Yeah, your parents probably had you tracked or something. I've been jonesing for Skyrim. Hey, Autumn, you should watch Tamarile's channel. I probably didn't pronounce that right. She does Skyrim stuff. All right. Number 9. When I was 16, the mountains in the spring. Okay. I was 16 in the mountains in Springville, Utah. So we were in our tent, and you couldn't see any stars through the thick canvas. There were 4 of us in the tent. About an hour of being in the tent, a light appeared that we could see through the canvas. We got out and looked at the weird-looking light that was in the sky. About 30 minutes later, it slowly started moving down, and its light was lighting up the mountain valley. We were freaked out, started swearing at it, shaking out BB guns at it. It eventually stopped again for another 30 minutes or so. At that point, it split into 2 light objects. One light got a blue flame and shot off into the sky in one direction, and the other object did the same. I have no idea what the fuck it was, but we saw the same lights in the mountains for several days from our houses in the valley. Yikes. Hey, Ace RK850. Yes, okay. Epic Night is fun to watch. Yes, happy holidays. Welcome. We're reading Alien Abduction Stories. We're on number 10. One night I go down to the kitchen to drink water about 4 a.m. and I hear this weird kind of low-pitched buzzing sound coming from outside. I go out to the backyard and I shit you not, I see this fucking bright rounded object, UFO, hovering about 600 feet right above me. I just froze there. I almost felt like I was paralyzed for a moment. I watched it ascend higher into the air and take off at an incredible speed and disappear into the wintry clouds. That night, I had a dream that I was abducted. Now, when I think about it, I wonder if the dream was real, but was purposely made to seem like a dream. I obviously don't know for sure, but it's scary shit, man. Yeah. I've questioned dreams before. Yeah. I still have to beat Witcher 3 all the way, and my husband got me Diablo 3 for Christmas. Awesome. Actually, I say that awesome, but I don't even know what it is. That's gaming speak. I'm lost. Yeah. Number 11. I was an air traffic controller in the Air Force, and one morning, I think it was 1972, and I was the crew chief on duty on a midnight shift along with one other controller. It was daybreak, and almost time for shift change. When I look up, and there's a metallic object crossing over the field and moving fast. I couldn't make out what it was, but I knew for sure it wasn't an aircraft. I called down to radar and asked if they had anything on their scope. They replied no. The other person who was working with me sleeping on the floor since it was slow, no traffic at all. All these years later, I still wonder what it was, but it raised the hair on the back of my neck when I was watching it. Heck yeah. None of these people are going to admit that they peed their pants. More games. I can't contribute anything good to the game conversation because I don't know anything. I don't ever take them seriously when I play them anyway. I just get in there and try to make it as much destruction as possible. Unless it's a game that I feel like I can beat, if that makes any sense. Number 12. Not my story, but back in the late 70s, my mother's sister was married to someone who claimed not only to have seen a UFO, but that he was taken aboard and probed, etc. He was a highway patrolman, and he said that this all happened in the middle of the night when he was on patrol. He was in his patrol car, remember seeing the lights, and then he lost 2 to 3 hours. He was put under hypnosis, and then he remembered the rest. He is actually mentioned in some of the literature and also has a video on YouTube. His name is Herbert Schirmer. They are no longer married. I'm going to copy and paste his name, and then maybe we can watch that in a minute, if that sounds good to anybody else. We can look him up and see. I'm sure there's something there. Let me see. I've sent you the Amazon book link and the story. Oh, thank you. The sad life of a gamer without a console of any sort. Prototype. You'd want to play Prototype if you want to cause destruction, Justice. That just... Oh my god, I couldn't even say my name. No. PC Master Race, people. Okay, I did find him, so we'll take a peek at that. Oh, they look to... There's one that's only 8 minutes, and then there's one that's 2 minutes long, so we'll take a look at that in a minute. All right, number 13. My grandfather back in 1965 used to stare at the night sky looking for aliens. He always said it's just the dots that move. Weird. I could never see them. But he knew what he was looking for. Whenever he saw one, he would jump in his Bel Air and chase that fucker down, blazing down the country roads. He said he would always get close, but then his whole car would just stop. Just the whole thing turned off, and wouldn't turn back on for a few minutes. And before you think it was car problems, my whole family history is nothing but mechanics. Still, he said it was like nothing he'd ever seen before. That's crazy. I checked the chat, and there was nothing there, so moving on. I was out on my balcony. This is number 14. I was out on my balcony at about 11 to 1 at night, having a cigarette. I don't remember the exact time. It was April of 2012. I live in Las Vegas, but my balcony faces away from the lights and strip. I was stargazing for a bit when I noticed something odd. Something was moving. A star I had been looking at suddenly disappeared, as if something moved in front of it. It was a boomerang-shaped object, about as big as a private plane, moving silently and smoothly. No noise at all. No lights. It wasn't pitch black either, almost a really dark purple-blue, the color of the night sky. It seemed like it was trying to blend in. It was also very low, maybe only 100 to 150 feet up. Like if you were riding on top and I yelled something to you, you could hear me. It was that close. I watched as it silently glided out of my view. I looked online a few days later, and apparently only one other person saw it. Must have been stealthily flying low that night in this big city, and only 2 people saw it. Wouldn't that be the perfect place to take people? They're all drunk and messed up, and you just take them, send them on back to their hotel room from your spaceship, and they would just think they had a really bad hangover. Oh my gosh. Number 15. I just checked the chat. If I can't contribute anything to the chat, then I don't try to blend in with lingo. I don't know what I'm talking about. Number 15. When I was a kid, I lived right on the edge of the state forest. My friends and I would go adventuring out there all the time. And as we got a bit older, middle school age, we started camping and just going for hikes to unwind. One night I went for a walk by myself on a trail I knew with my eyes closed. I had left my house at maybe 8 p.m. I sat down in a small clearing after about 20 minutes of walking and stared up at the stars at what I thought was an airplane until I realized it wasn't moving, but slightly pulsing. I could feel the pulses in my chest, like they were synced up with my heartbeat. I just kind of shook it off after maybe 15 minutes as a weird coincidence and hopped up to meander my way home. When I got home, all of the lights were off, which I found kind of weird until I went to plug in my phone. It was 2 a.m. Woohoo! That sounds familiar. I feel like I've read that in one of my videos a long, long time ago. No, you guys talk. Hey, bug nuts. You guys can say you're not boring me. I'm reading to you, you goof nuts. You goofy people. You can talk about gaming. I feel stupid when I can't contribute anything to it, but I'm entertaining you, so you guys can talk about stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay. Number 16. We are reading alien abduction stories for those bug nuts and anyone else that joined us. Oh, nerd out. I'm always a nerd. I got Michael Myers socks and oh shoot, I can't remember what the other ones were. Anyways, I got spooky socks for Christmas. I love them. I haven't put them on yet. They're right next to me on the desk. Anyway, number 16. While I was out on a Boy Scout camp, Order of the Arrow for guys out there, I slept outside of a tent for the first night. This is part of the camp out. It was about 2:30 in the morning. I still couldn't fall asleep, and I just opened my eyes. I saw these 3 lights open up in the sky, like a perfect equilateral, oh my gosh, triangle. They just seemed to shoot down and illuminate the entire forest. At this point, everything goes quiet. Birds, bugs, deer, and coyotes just shut up. They moved so slow across the sky, and I remember following them down to the pond edge. I took a couple steps into the water, and then they just kept going before disappearing. I couldn't believe it, and I told some people in the morning, and no one believed me. Funny thing is, none of the adult leaders, we weren't allowed to use cell phones, had phone reception in the morning. But that was fine after a few hours. Weird. Number 17. I was 12 watching High School High. Isn't that an old Disney show? I think that is. With my brother and my friend. My parents had just gone out and left us with my uncle who was asleep upstairs. We paused the movie, I guess it was a movie, and gave my friend some money to go to the corner store about 2 minutes away because they had glass bottled Cokes. About 20 minutes later, he hadn't shown up. I wondered what took him so long, so I stepped outside to see if he was coming. As soon as I did, probably about 50 feet or more directly above me, I saw the bottom of a spinning UFO. It had about 12 or so spinning lights. I stood there in awe for about 10 seconds until I realized what the fuck I was watching. At that point, I called my little brother out to see it. He came running out and asked me what it was. I said I didn't know. Then in the snap of a finger, it just went about 60 feet at the same height to my right over my apartment's parking lot. Excuse me. I ran toward it barefoot because I didn't want to lose sight of it. As soon as I got under it, the thing just zoomed straight over these other apartments, got into the sky in another snap of a finger. I'll never forget that speed. It's what made it for real for me. That UFO truly changed the person I was. Did his friend ever come back from the store? Kind of an important detail, isn't it? Did he get taken by the UFO? They do. They do. Hot topic. And I think you can order them online. Totally off subject, but my husband got me a cricket for Christmas. And if you don't know what that is, some of you ladies, if you're listening, you might know what it is. There might be some guys that know what it is too, but I think I can make my own merch now, actually, with the cricket. So stay tuned for that, because then I can get a lot more options, including socks, hats, shirts. I can really expand into things you might actually want besides a sticker. Because I know not everybody wants a shirt because they're kind of pricey, but you might like something that's small. So I don't know. I'll take a poll and see what everybody would like. And then I'm going to test this thing out and see what I can do with it. Yeah, I literally, you can do anything with them. My husband asked me what I want for Christmas. I was like, seriously? Because my friend got one, and I'll just nerd out on my cricket for just a second, and then I'll get back to the stories. But I've been talking about this thing nonstop for about a month, And my husband was like, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, really? Only one thing I've been talking about nonstop. But I was like, it's fine. I'm not, anything you get me is fine. Because I'm really, for me, Christmas is about the kids. We buy for the kids before we buy for ourselves. And then if we have stuff left over, we buy for ourselves, which normally we don't. Really, not a lot. But this year we kind of got to do something for ourselves. So that was nice. But yeah, lots of possibilities, endless possibilities. I'm excited. Okay. Anyways, back to the stories. And I have another channel that I'm probably, when I start doing it, I'm probably going to post once a week on there and show you guys stuff. Well, anyone that goes there that can watch it. Anyway, moving on. Number 18. I live in Southern California. I often drink beer at night on my porch and stargaze. I have on numerous occasions seen objects that are not satellites, planes, or shooting stars move in bizarre patterns and emit immense light before quickly disappearing into the night. I know that many people don't believe in UFOs or any of that nonsense, and I don't really either, but I know what I saw, and I know it wasn't earthly. I mean, honestly, most of the time that you realize people don't listen to the stories is because usually you hear a story from someone who's been telling their story for so long. No one believes them. And they seem to be kind of, I mean, the one thing that they have in common is they're all personally bizarre to the point where people think they're crazy anyway. So anything that they say isn't going to be believed. Now, doesn't that make them the perfect person to abduct because no one's going to believe them, right? Makes you think. I'm just saying. Number 19. When I was 5, I saw 3 grays at dawn while camping in the backyard with my cousin. They froze me and I panicked, mostly because I couldn't move. They looked at me for a few seconds and left. When I was 19, I was camping in New Mexico near the school for deaf kids. We heard the screaming, so we popped out of the tent to see a large, glowing, upside-down lampshade thing in the middle of this field 30 feet away. It drifted up into the night and accelerated fast until it popped like a firework in the sky. Wow, that's crazy. Yes, my husband's the best. Thank you. Darth Vader, Eva Seder. Last night was my 21st birthday. Happy birthday. Autumn. Hey, Mr. Saberine. Did you ever finish that story you were working on? I've never heard of anybody encountering UFO and then doing something drastic like driving their trucks into that shit. So I stacked against the victim. Right. And remember we were talking, when we were doing this last time, we were talking about the show from the new Star Trek series, the guy that plays Spock, the actor that plays him, had a series on exploring alien abductions. And several of them had a piece that they removed from their bodies. So he took it and had it analyzed. And none of it was alien material. All of it was something that was easily explainable. They all thought they had a tracker or something in them. But hey, Bernadette, hello. We're reading alien stories. About half an hour now. But, I mean, we have a lot to go. So you're good. You're good. Good. I can't wait to read it, Saberine. Hey, Nightmare Files. Hey. Yeah, but the one thing that they had in common was they all seemed like lunatics. Which, if you were telling someone something that happened to you repeatedly and no one believed you, I think it would slowly drive you insane, don't you think? I think it would. Like, oh, cool. I can't wait. Mr. Saberine has a channel, so does Nightmare Files. Anybody else that has a channel here, please. I think Dark Evil Stater, you have a channel too, don't you? Anybody else? I'm looking up and down here. If you guys are here and have a channel, let everybody know so they can check you out. Ooh, dun dun dun. Well, the original, no. Well, actually, it was a very similar show, but not Leonard Nimoy, the new series of Star Trek, that guy. Oh, God. Zachary Pinto, was that his name? I think that is his name. Anyways, it's pretty cool. It really explores it. Okay, we're reading alien abduction stories, and I just clicked on something, and I don't know what happened. Oh, boy. Okay, well, it just isolated it for me, and I'm not sure why it did that. Okay. Okay, number 21. Number 20 was a one-sentence thing, so they just said that they saw the Phoenix lights. Okay, that's not really... Anyway, number 21. I know somebody who was involved in this incident, which I'll have to link that. Okay, the link isn't found. Anyways, basically a bunch of school kids all reported seeing a little man step out of a UFO when then transmitted images telepathically to them. This all happened during their break. Anytime you mention it to her, she becomes anxious and asks if we could talk about something else. So I really don't know how authentic it is since she hates talking about it, but there you go. Okay, that wasn't helpful. And then it says this incident and it highlights it. And it's supposed to have a link that takes you to the story, but it takes you nowhere. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Okay, here we go. I was looking for this. I couldn't find the chat. You know, I was going to do a how to edit video, and I think I'm going to do that because it took me a long time to figure out the simplest way to edit, and I think I'm finally going to do that. Just because I think it'll save anybody that does audio tons of time. A number one tip, do a straight read through. Read it first without recording it. Get yourself a clicker. Read it straight through. If you mess up, click this and keep going. And it's just for audio, it's the fastest way to get it done. So yeah. Plus, and then there's a whole nother level if you want to do audiobooks. The only way I figured that stuff out is because of Mother Creepypasta and her husband, Large Man is Large. Because of them, I would have never been able to figure it out. It's really complicated. They have a little academy on ACX, which is Audible's audiobook site. Anyway, I don't want to spend the whole time talking about that, but yeah, I think it'd be helpful for people. Oh yeah, no, you don't want that. I'll send you a link to the microphone that I use. It was only $20. Never use a snowball. It's round and it catches all the sound around you. You don't have to spend a lot. You just have to do a little bit of research on which one to get. The next one that I'll get is a long time from now because it's about $1,000 microphone and it's for professional voiceovers. I mean, people that record and that's like their full-time occupation. They do that. But I'm not spending $1,000 on a Rode microphone when I don't have the, income. It doesn't balance out. So yeah, I think that's a good one too. But anyways, I'm going to move on to the stories again. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. It moved into a new link. Awesome. This is number 22. Let's see. Need a little sip here. I'm losing my voice again. And I know that you guys hear this like every other week. I feel like I'm coming down with the cold. I feel like it's been battling with me for like 2 months. But we also had a very stressful family scenario happen. And that could be why, because I know that stress can really affect your whole life there. Number 22, squirrel. I still have no idea what this was. I was out in the cornfields south of Des Moines trying to get a photo of the Milky Way. This red thing flew from south to north. Not a sound at all. It flickered as it moved and was much slower than any meteor I'd ever seen. I was able to swing my camera around to take this 20-second exposure. And then there's no photo. Like, if you guys ever share stories like this, make sure you have some, you're looking at getting a Newman TLM 103. I don't even know what that is. I did. I was talking about my cricket, so you might have to go back a minute because I don't want to start talking about it then. I'm going to bore people that don't know what it is, and it's going to get on their nerves because I'll start talking about it and I'll go on and on about it. And then my husband's going to get on and say, wow, you must have a good husband, which is fine. I do have a great husband. Yeah, they're really expensive. But that's something you would build up to. You know what I mean? I still am like, you need a quiet room too. I know that you can build your own, but if you're really going to have a microphone like that, you really want to build your own quiet room so that you can really record day and night and have it soundproofed, like a soundproof room, but you can build that a room within a room. It's a couple $100 if you invest, build your own, like a box basically, but you need ventilation in it or you're going to get way too hot and way too claustrophobic. I tried to do that to a closet in our house and it was too small. I felt like I had to get out of there. It was too small. Okay, back to the stories. Number 23. I was in Venice in September of this year. I was riding a water bus at night. And as I was looking out over the big lagoon, I noticed a bright orange ball of light moving, and for whatever reason, I can't remember if it was descending or ascending. But it was definitely moving vertically. It was moving fairly slow, and I couldn't tell exactly how far away it was. I watched it for a short while, maybe a few minutes, and I saw that a couple of others on the water bus noticed it too. Maybe they didn't think much of it, since they stopped looking at it after a couple minutes. I kept watching it though, and eventually it decelerated and stopped. It hovered in this position for a small while, then disappeared in an instant. Still don't know what it was, and can't think of a reasonable explanation. I don't think it could have been an airplane. It seemed so bright, and since the boat was also moving, it appeared to be no more than a half-mile away. It was completely silent, and it didn't appear to have any more mass other than what I could see of the very bright orange light. It's the only UFO I have ever seen for which I can't think of an explanation. Yeah, because UFO doesn't necessarily also mean alien. It's just unidentified. So sometimes they can be explained. iPhone works too. Sometimes it works better than some microphones, to be honest. I used my headset that I'm wearing right now for a long time, so. Got candy, 3 new shirts, lavender. I got a bunch of stuff, but the cricket shocked me. Like I sat opening that for a good minute with my mouth hanging open. I didn't know I was going to get that, so. That was a shocker. All right, number 24. When I was a little girl in the 1960s and was tucked into bed at night, I would look up and see these very tall, very thin men with long necks and no facial features, just big, dark eye circles standing in my doorway. They never said anything, just looked lovingly at me, and I was never frightened. Sometimes there would be 2 or 3, sometimes just 1. I always spoke to them, and then I would fall asleep. As I grew up, I forgot about them. Many years later, I was looking at a book by Whitley Strieber about aliens and what people who claimed to have seen aliens reported that they looked like. My tall men looked just like all the pictures in the book. Ooh, dun dun dun. Therapy. Ooh, that sounds fun. PJs are the best. They are. I got a new robe too, and it's like one of those robes you put it on. It feels like really soft on the outside, but most of the time they feel soft on the outside, and then the inside's all horrible. But this one is equally soft on the inside, and it's glorious. Everyone, man and woman, should have one of these. Bernadette, I'm not going to say what Bernadette sent me, but Bernadette sent me something very, I can't even say what it is. It's so beyond generous, and I don't know how to ever truly thank you, but you need credit. Oh, posters, Steam, iTunes, cards. Oh, cool. Nuclear hot sauce. That's the one thing I didn't. I usually make shrimp and hot sauce for every holiday, and I didn't do that, so I'm going to save it for New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, whichever. But I usually cook shrimp in hot sauce all day, so that when you go to eat it, it's so tender. It doesn't even taste like it doesn't have the texture of shrimp anymore. It just falls like it's to the point where if you kept going, it'd just shred, but I don't let it go that far. But it's good. Makes your eyes water, but it's so good. Okay, number 25. I was on a plane from Bolivia to Peru. Everyone was sleeping but myself. It was about 11 p.m. and the light from the wing of the plane was just in my window, and it was cool to look at. Then I noticed there was no wing, and I looked forward, and the wing was like 10 feet from my seat. The light I was seeing was a whole different light. I got kind of freaked out and stared at this white, very brilliant light, and within seconds this light went up until it was out of sight. Next day in the papers, UFO sighting in Peru near Lima. And 2 days after that, a small earthquake took place. I'm not making any of this up, I swear. Well, I mean, it helps if you post links so people can see it. It solidifies it. Like if it was in the paper, wouldn't it have a link? I bet I could Google it right now and see. I'm gonna, if you guys don't care. I'm gonna see if I Google that and hit news, if it shows up. It helps if you put a year too. I'm just saying, like, if you're someone that sees this stuff, but in the moment, you're probably not going to remember. Let me see here. No, I'm not seeing anything that's like, no. Anyway, thought you guys might like that, but I can't see any, I can't find anything. No, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say. I'm just making sure I publicly thank you. I didn't get any ghost peppers, and ants are most of my habanero, so no homemade salsa this year. How could anyone, if you put ghost peppers in your salsa, how could anyone eat the salsa? I like spicy stuff, but damn. But the Bible, what is the name of your Bible? Bible for the Witcher 3? Okay. We talked about this. I don't know how to contribute to that, so I'm going to read and you guys talk amongst yourselves. Number 26, 1994, Tucson, Arizona, near Davis, Monthan, AFB. I don't know what that means. We were swimming in the apartment complex's swimming pool when we saw what we at first thought was a jetliner flying very high in the air. There happened to be a helicopter flying much lower also. The airplane was going much faster than a jet would and then did the impossible. It did a 45-degree turn. No arc, nothing. Just like it was doing a corner in a box. It shot off across the sky. I wasn't the only one. People were shocked and ran to the front of the apartment complex to watch it. That's kind of crazy. Checking the chat. You bought your wife underwear, and she bought you a diamond watch. That seems fair. So, you going to the store today, or? Spicy food has been my staple for years. I mean, I go through a lot of Kleenex, though. Yeah. I'm going to be going to the store when we're done with this so I can make some chicken noodle soup, and I just put like a little bit of, I put a couple dashes of hot sauce in it while it's cooking. Nothing that anyone can like outrightly taste. It just gives a hint of flavor and brings a lot of the flavor of the vegetables out and the chicken, which mainly I'm a vegetarian. and to each their own. But I strongly believe that homemade, garlic, celery, onions, carrots, all that stuff cooking together with some hot sauce, it'll kick the ass of any cold. Oh, good, smart man. Ooh, that's a rough Christmas. I feel for you, man. Ooh. Oh. But again, it's not about, you had no idea your wife was going to get that for you, and it's not about that at all. That's really nice, though, that somebody was that thoughtful. And I was able to get my husband a couple of things this year. Finally. That was nice. All right, number 27. And I'm getting a new computer, so that's good, too. Yes. Ooh, anyway, moving on. So my live streams and my video process should be much less of a hassle. The video process has been much better since I got the new software that I got a while ago. But my computer still does like whatever it wants sometimes. And there's several times where it'll just say such and such program is not responding, and then turn everything, like turn off the program, like Audacity or the video editing stuff in the middle of doing something. 9 times out of 10, it saves it, and I just have to go back and alter it a little. But there are those times when you don't know if it's going to have saved itself, and you have to start all over. And if you don't know, sometimes making these videos takes some intricate timing, and that's extremely frustrating. Oh, man. Me too, Bernadette. Thank you. Oh, I'm sick of eat a lot of spicy food. Yeah. Get that stuff out of you. Get it out. Fun fact, pure chili oil prevents tooth decay. Wow. I use Filmora. I always ask Ozzy, well, Celestial Nor. I ask his advice on the stuff because I don't know what stuff, and I had looked at 17 minimum other things on what to buy. And I thought I'd ask him, and he said, that's the best one. And I paid, it was like $60. And that's for, and then I paid $5 extra so that I have a lifetime of download. So like when I get a new computer, I can re-download it from their website, and it's totally fine. I really like it. And it saves a lot of stuff, like any music that I've got. It saves it in the program. So it's not stored on my computer too. It's just in there. So if I want to use it again on something else, I can. But what I hate is when I forget, like if it's, I have to go back into YouTube, and then like if I'll like copy and paste the song into the Creator Studio just to make sure, like, do I need to link it and give credit? So I always make sure I do that too. And I'm just using my own footage now, like the footage for the Christmas video. That was shot on my phone, and I used my own snow globe in front of my Christmas tree, and then I just put it at half speed. And so, ooh, Power Director. I don't know what that is. Ooh, Filmora had a short learning curve, but it was really easy to use, and it was easier to use than the free one that I used to use, but it's no longer available. I can't remember what it was. Movie Maker. Movie Maker was great, but Filmora, I think, is an easy transition. There's a few things you have to tweak and play around with, and then you got it. You got it. All right, going back to the stories, and I'll check the chat in a minute. Number 27. My dad saw a cigar-shaped craft with red portholes floating over a cornfield when he was a teen in the mid-60s. I thought I was going to sneeze, sorry. He was taking a rural shortcut and saw it hovering. He stopped his truck to look at it, and then it took off with what he describes as near instant acceleration. At the time, he believed it had to be aliens, since it was unlike anything he'd ever seen on Earth. But as he grew older, he became convinced it was an experimental Cold War aircraft. The notable thing is that he didn't follow UFO reports with any seriousness. So his report of a cigar-shaped craft, which has been consistent throughout his life, is interesting because that same shape of craft was at one time commonly reported. Weird. AFB Air Force Base, thank you. MKA stories? What is that one? MKA. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know if it's the cold. Bye, Anna. Bye. MKA. I'll come back. I'm going to read the next thing. 28. Now, the first time I ever tried to write this down, first time telling anyone outside of my family, I'm leaving out time and location and some other details because I'm still scared of what might happen with it publicly, I guess. Summer before 8th grade. Me and two of my friends snuck out at midnight to go walk around the neighborhood and go see these girls on the next block who were having a sleepover. We turn a corner in our neighborhood, and there's this huge black blimp-shaped thing in the sky, like the pictures of the Hindenburg, but bigger than that, and as close, if not closer. Completely silent, and the size of at least 4 to 5 football fields across. No exaggeration. Even though I was young, we stare at it entranced, asking each other over and over if we both see it, which we all agree that we do. Oh, all. I guess there's more than two. Standing there, frozen in one place. It's like black, polished gunmetal. No lights, no sound, no anything. It's just hovering there. And then, I don't know what happened, but time clearly jumps. Next thing I remember is the craft, ship, government experiment, whatever the hell it was, is gone. And there's a tiny glowing white barbell thing in the sky, seemingly slowly falling to earth with wisps of smoke coming off of it. Then 2 brand new black trucks with silver gearboxes on the back like F-150s or S-10s, but nicer, came speeding down the street, going about 70 in a residential 25-mile-per-hour zone neighborhood. Then after that, I remember walking home to one of my friends' houses and going to bed. At that point, it was 5 or 6 in the morning and the sun was coming up. We all made a promise to tell my dad in the morning because he worked for the city, but we never did. I don't know what happened later in life to one of my friends who was there, but the other was my best friend, and we sort of made an unspoken pact to never talk about it. Don't know how or why we did that. We all grew up and sort of lost touch with him too. We did reconnect over Facebook and such over the years, but it was like there's something between us neither of us wanted to talk about. Looking back on it now, there's no way we could have been the only ones to see it. It wasn't that late at night. It was over a heavily populated suburb of a major city. The idea of this has always scared me more than any sort of possible abduction scenario. That there were others, and we're all voluntarily suffering a sort of collective amnesia, except in how we're not. I thought about hypnosis, but that scares me too. Plus, I'm not sure I trust the results. I was just a kid then, and I'm not sure if I could trust the hypnotist. What do I know? Again, there is no way it's just the 3 of us who saw it. We're talking a huge hovering in the sky directly above hundreds of houses, just after midnight on a summer weekend night. But nothing on the news, nothing in the paper, nothing on TV, no word spoken about it again, ever by anyone. This is a true story. This happened, and there's no way I'm the only one who remembers it. No way. Huh. I mean, why wouldn't you talk to your friend about it? I would. I'm the person that's like, mind control, yes, it's set aside. I want it to be good. I'm not going to do it until I feel like it's really, really good. Hey, you just had an eye exam? I just had an eye exam. I need another one. I know my prescription has changed since last time. Oh no, don't send me dead squirrels. Tequila sure makes time jump. Yeah, makes everything in my stomach jump right out of it too. Number 29. Although I can handle a good margarita, I can't handle straight tequila. Ugh. Um, Sip of coffee. Sorry about that. Number 29. My mom tells a story of her and her friend. Let's call her Lisa. So when my mom and Lisa were teenagers, they were up on the roof of Lisa's house, and they see a bright light in the sky. Next thing they know, the light's gone. Thing is, they've been on the roof for like 15 minutes, but 3 hours passed. My mom doesn't remember anything about what happened during that time, and Lisa simply refuses to talk about it. She would answer my mom with things like, I don't know, and just drop it for a long time. So a couple months later, Mom moves away and loses contact with Lisa for about 10 years. She finally meets up with her again and immediately notices something odd about Lisa. Lisa appeared distant to her, with a very dreamy demeanor, like she was really happy and at peace for no good reason. After they talk for a bit, Lisa brings up the incident on the roof. Mom says she still doesn't really remember anything about it. But Lisa remembers. She remembers everything. Ooh, this is going to get good. She said that at first, it was all in bits and pieces, that she couldn't remember any of it clearly. She was confused and scared and wanted to avoid discussing it. Then, as time passed, she began to remember more of it. She remembers it all clearly. And she remembers that the other 3 times she was abducted after that clearly as well. After that, at first, they paralyzed her somehow and did all sorts of invasive experiments on her. But by most recent time, they stopped probing her and began to talk with her. They didn't speak English or any other human language, but she could understand everything that they said, even though she can't speak their language herself. Apparently, they told her all sorts of things, stuff about space, Earth itself, and most shockingly, predicted years beforehand that she would get pregnant in a specific year and would also be stillborn, and that she would never be able to have children again. They also told her that it was not their fault, and they even made an attempt to save her from this fate, but that they were unsuccessful. They also told her that they had abducted my mother. Another time after that first incident. My mother says she has no recollection of any other potential abductions, but she does have recurring nightmares of being abducted, but she's almost sure that they're just nightmares. Anyway, Lisa tells Mom that every time she speaks with them, she comes to understand the truth more and more. When Mom inquires what the truth is, Lisa just says that you'll know eventually. And she says that once she learned of the truth, then everything became wonderful. Mom has seen her a few more times over the years. We still live in another state from her. And she apparently has a pretty normal life and doesn't obsess over alien stuff like some supposed alien abductees do. She only ever brings it up in passing, not like it's a central part of her daily life. And that is another thing that's about other alien abductees usually have, not only do they tell everyone they know, oh, you're about an hour late, cats. Not only do they tell everyone they see, but if you'll notice, when you see these people talk about it, they seem odd, and their whole house is they're obsessed with it. It's almost like they want it to be taken. So that's why people never tend to believe them, because of that. And I don't think that that's their fault. I think that they've been driven to that, and that's unavoidable. Oh, that's my favorite pie. Oh, what did I miss? Someone talking about pie? You know what? I love the flavor of coconut, but I can't stand the texture of coconut. My husband loves coconut cream pie too, so sometimes I'll get him that, and I just don't eat it. Oh, banana or chocolate cream pie. Oh, or dairy-free cheesecake, because I love cheesecake, but I don't want to die. So, oh, sorry if I was kind of spammy. Work makes it difficult to make live chats. Thanks for coming, Crow. Alas, the crow flies. But Schmeister. That's pretty funny. Okay. Moving on. Number 30. I can't say for sure what happened to me that night, but here's what I know. I was driving home for the weekend from school at Indiana University. Sorry, my throat is kind of a little sore, and I had a little bit of a cold that knocked me on my butt yesterday, and I feel better today for the most part, but you can tell it's affecting me a little bit. Anyway, sorry. So it takes me about 2 hours to get home from Indiana University. God, I can't say that word. And I left Bloomington around 10 p.m. At exactly 10:53, I'm on a rural stretch of the 2-lane highway I take home, and I notice what appeared to be flashing lights behind me. I thought, great, I'm getting pulled over. So I turned onto the next country road about a quarter mile from where I noticed the lights. As the car came to a stop, and I started to open my glove box to get out my registration and proof of insurance, the lights suddenly disappeared, and no car drove past. Now here's where the story takes a turn for the weird. And I'm sure you guys will think I'm just making it all up because it really doesn't seem like something straight out of a typical UFO movie or story. The electronics, it seems like a typical, not doesn't. Anyway, the electronics in my car started to go haywire. The radio was randomly changing stations while the volume kept going up and down, while the dome light and headlights started to flicker and turn off and back on. Now the time was 10:56. I start thinking to myself that my battery must be failing, or else I have a short somewhere in the electric system of my car. So I lean down to pop the hood so I can take a look at the battery. That's the last thing I remember doing. The next thing I know, I open my eyes and see nothing but the night sky full of bright stars. It was a cold night, and it seemed like I had never seen stars that bright in my life. I sat up and looked around and saw absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. I was in the middle of a field surrounded by corn stalks left over from the recent harvest. As I started to come to my senses, I also started to freak out. Where am I? Why the fuck am I asleep in the middle of a field? Where the fuck is my car? I got up and started walking toward the distant headlights I could see from the road about half a mile away. When I got to the nearest intersection, I looked at the signs which read 350N and 50 West, which was a half a mile from my car, which was just right off the main road. I started walking toward the headlights I could see on the main road. I can't say how long it took me to walk the half mile, but it couldn't have been more than 10 or 15 minutes. When I arrived at my car, all the lights were out. My battery had died, which struck me as odd because I couldn't have been gone for that long. I looked at my phone, which was sitting on the passenger seat, and the time was 2:17 a.m. Over 3 hours had passed since I turned off the side road for the flashing lights behind me. I remember sitting in my car completely dumbfounded, wondering what the hell had just happened to me. About a half an hour of just sitting there, I remembered that my battery was dead, so I got on the phone and called AAA to come out and give me a jump. It took about an hour for them to get out there, since I was a good distance from the nearest town, during which time I just sat in silence, running the possible scenarios in my head concerning myself about what just happened. To this day, I couldn't tell you what really happened to me that night. All I know is that I can't think of any plausible explanation as to why I woke up over a half a mile from my car in the middle of a cornfield more than 3 hours after I stopped. I've only shared the story with one other person, my uncle, and I'm sure people would either look at me like I'm crazy or they would call bullshit on the whole thing, and I can't blame them. If somebody came to me with a story like that so closely mirrors the stereotypical encounter story, I probably wouldn't believe them either. That's crazy. Do you guys think that when we talk about this, Just like skinwalkers, that it's going to happen to us now. Let's see. Maybe scroll up so I can see pumpkin pie. You know what? I wish someone would make pumpkin pie with like a graham cracker crust. It would taste so much better. Key lime is good too. Alien abductions, eh? Yes. When we're done, you can go back to the beginning and hear some more. You know, German and currently learning Italian. Wow, you're smart. You're so smart. Spanish. Yeah, you knew Spanish already, right? Because you are, right? Hey, Paul, hello. Happy New Year. Happy Christmas. Still feels like Christmas to me. Well, it will stop feeling like Christmas in mid-January, I think. But we still have brown grass here. We had snow on Christmas Day. It was snowing, and then nothing. It melted now. Skinwalkers like our innocuous. Oh, yeah. Spanish doesn't count because it's native. Yeah, but English is the second language to you. So that's 4 languages you'll know after you learn Italian. That's pretty cool. The more languages you learn, the smarter that you are. That's a fact. Your brain has to work harder to relate all the things. Or not harder, it just works more. I don't know how to explain it correctly, but anyway. Number 31. I was on a wildfire. Okay, I read that correctly. I was on a wildfire just south of Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah. We were in fire rigs driving to the incident area. 4 trucks in close convoy. When we heard helicopters. 8 black military choppers escorted us in formation for like 10 miles. We assumed they were just doing drills and using us for fake target practice or something. A little while later, we're parked and about to start hiking to the fire line when suddenly a thin column of smoke shoots probably about 200 feet into the sky. It was a good mile away, but the concussion was pretty significant when it hit us, and the noise was ridiculously loud. We thought it was probably no big deal. We knew we were near the strike zone. A good 5 minutes later, an aircraft like nothing I've ever seen flew by us at maybe 500 feet. It was flat black and sort of rectangular, but with fins and wells on the underside. It was moving pretty slow, dead silent. So I have to assume it was some sort of stealth glider. It sounds ridiculous, but it immediately reminds me of a huge flying Batmobile. Tim Burton area? Tim Burton has got to be that, what he meant, because he spelt time. After that, some military personnel got on our radio frequency and instructed us to leave the area immediately. When our crew chief asked who it was and why they signed off, and the incident commander, the guy in charge of managing the entire situation, came on the radios and said we were evacuating the area. They sent us to a completely different fire about 100 miles to the south and never told us why, except that it was a higher priority, which was bullshit. It was already out when we got there, and we just assisted crews in the mop-up operation. The thing that confuses me about this is that if the Army didn't want us to see that shit, or if it was dangerous, why didn't they keep us clear of the area in the first place? Either a communications breakdown, or they had now shit situation going down, and they had to get us out of there without warning. I mean, what good are you doing people by not telling them? I want to know that shit. That's the one thing I could never get on board with sweet potatoes. I know that like they sell sweet potato fries everywhere. I just can't do it. Ugh. No, I think like the pumpkin pie that I've had, like the crust is always like a letdown. Like the pumpkin part's good, and you can always add something to it, drizzled with caramel maybe, and then like a little bit of. Right, I like Cool Whip because it's not dairy. If anybody didn't know that, if you have like a dairy allergy or anything, Ready Whip is dairy. Instant almost throw up for me. Sorry, that was really graphic, but really graphic, and I read horrible stories on here. Anyways, I think we're going to keep reading just for till 2 o'clock. Then I'll call it quits. There's a lot of stories here to go. Well, maybe I can make a video for it for Saturday if you guys want, because there's a lot more to tell. Let me see. Okay. So I was traveling back home with, this is number 32, by the way. I was traveling back home with my mom from my aunt's house on a warm, sunny afternoon. While I was sitting in the passenger seat, an object just appeared in the sky a little to our left. No, this is a repeat. It's a repeat. Okay, moving on. Number 33. That was like the first one when we started reading these. Number 33. My dad has over a dozen stories like this. He grew up in rural Illinois, near a woodsy area. UFO activity was apparently high back then. I don't know if it was just my family or the whole area, but my dad and my grandpa would just sit on the porch and watch lights fly around their house for fun. This was a long time ago. When my dad was a kid, he's in his 60s now. They would watch the stars dart around like laser lights and laugh about it. Shit's mind-boggling to me now. I've only seen that kind of thing happen once or twice and it freaked me out. Besides that, a bunch of other weird shit would happen to my dad. Isolated earthquakes in Illinois that nobody else felt. Bright orbs floating around in the sky and following him around, etc. It's been a while since he told me these stories, but one of the particularly weird ones has always stuck with me. I'm completely aware that it sounds like my dad was just fucking with me, and trust me, I prefer to believe that, but I have good reasons to trust him. For starters, he's never lied to me about anything else. He wasn't the type of person to make shit up for show. He also had absolutely nothing to gain from making this shit up. He never tried to publish it or even write it down. He would just talk about it sometimes. Anyway, so my dad was in his teens, and weird UFO shit has been happening his whole life at this point. He's out in his driveway for whatever reason, doing whatever people do when they live in a woodsy, rural area. His parents aren't home. They're out shopping, at work, or whatever. Suddenly, this big black car pulls into his driveway. Tinted windows, completely black. My dad just kind of watches it pull in, not sure what to think. Something to remember here. Not only is this a rural area, but it's also 50 years ago. People were a lot more trusting back then. Nowadays, you'd be crazy to leave your front door unlocked, but back then it was no big deal. So this strange black car pulls into my dad's driveway. It's making no noise at all, which my dad noticed right away. The door opens and out steps a super tall, bare-faced white man. He has blonde hair, an extremely well-tailored black suit, and black sunglasses on. Right away, my dad could see that there was something off about him. He looks too perfect. Flawless skin, a childlike smile, and very overdressed for a hot summer day. He looks distinctly out of place. The man walks up to my dad and asks for his name. My dad, 15 at the time, asks him why he wants to know. The man smiles and explains that he just wants to ask him a few questions and he means him no harm. Bemused, my dad agrees, but he's still weary of the strange man. First, the tall white dude asks my dad if he lives there. He says yes, and asks why he wants to know. The man has a completely relaxed, non-confrontational tone and seems almost giddy, like he was really excited to be having this conversation. His childish, overzealous grin hadn't faded in the least. He asked my dad if he had seen, felt, or heard anything that he felt was outside of the ordinary. My dad said sometimes, and again asked why he wanted to know. The man just kept grinning, and by now my dad was feeling very uncomfortable. Oh, feeling very comfortable, not uncomfortable. He felt very comfortable. He had never seen this guy before in his life. He didn't appear to be any kind of government agent. His behavior was far too unusual. Suddenly, the man's demeanor completely changes. His grin disappears, and he looks worried. Without so much as a goodbye, he opens his car door, gets inside, and drives away, still making no noise at all. A couple minutes later, my dad's parents came home from shopping. Now here's the really weird part. My mother saw the same fucking guy 30 fucking years later. She was in a bookstore looking to buy something. I don't know the details really. When she turned around and noticed this tall, fair-looking blonde guy in a black suit sitting at a table in a cafe, 30 feet or so from my mom. He was reading a newspaper. Sitting across from him was another dude, dressed exactly the same as the blonde one. They still looked strangely out of place, somehow too perfect, too clean. Now, my mom had heard the story from my dad before, so she actually recognized my dad's description of this man. He definitely stood out. So she's kind of taken back, trying to figure out if it's actually the man my dad had seen all those years ago. The blonde guy notices my mom looking at him. Again, his demeanor completely changes. He stands up, turns around, and quickly walks out of the bookstore with the second guy right behind him. What the fuck, right? I'm actually freaking out about this, thinking about it. I'm 22 now, and I have to wonder if I'm going to run into this awkward blonde stalker. It's like the Men in Black sent their most inept agent to follow around my dad. Or the most obvious alien ever is trying to study my family in our natural habitat. I don't fucking know. That's crazy. Crazy awesome, though. Oh, Duchess for president? That sounds like a job no one wants. So, I mean, they've made a mess of this country. And anyone tries to fix it, it's going to end up dying trying. I'm going to recruit everyone who's saying that you're going to vote for me, so be prepared. So I got 13 people, 4 people voting for me. Awesome. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Something Bigfoot. Yeah, I know. You don't have any control anyway. It's all, the funny thing is, I was talking about this. My husband and I can get in very heated, and not discussions toward each other, but just about it because it's so frustrating. But, the funny thing is people migrated here from all other countries of the world and now are against immigrants, which is ironic, don't you think? And it's okay if you don't agree with me. That's fine. Not that anyone said that. But the funny thing is people that came from England came to escape the Queen and her taxes and her rules and created a government where it's volunteer positions. And that's exactly what it should be again. Volunteer to do it. Let's see who would do it with zero pay. Let's see what kind of mess they can clean up with zero pay. I'll start the death squad who wants to join. Yeah, that's probably what you're going to have to do. Okay, let's see. Jerry Gling and Bernadette Bugnuts. Okay, you're going to be in my cabinet. Let's get out of these stories. Nobody wants to hear this nonsense of me being a president. President of the cuckoo train. I'm the only one on it, and I don't know where I'm going. It's a circle. Woo-hoo. If my husband's listening, he loves trains, so he'll like that little reference I did there. I have to take a drink of coffee, so I'll move the microphone. When you have a cold, and like your sinuses are clear, but then you can feel them like trying to drown you out in your own. I feel like my sinuses are trying to do that now, like I can't breathe. Excuse me, number 34. Ooh. Here it goes. That's how it starts. Here it goes. The first time I had ever seen anything, I was 7 in Houston, Texas. I used to like to climb on top of my mom's Suburban in the driveway and stare at the stars. One night, I saw an intensely bright floating light over the tree line, probably about a half mile away. I hollered, but nobody came to see it. I didn't see anything else until March of 2008. This experience happened between the 10th and the 15th of March 2008. But I can't give a specific date because I was up for 4 days trying to come up with some explanation to satisfy what I had seen. This was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. My mother lived in a garden home community. All houses the same size, all one story, and you had great visibility distance-wise. That sounds adorable. I walked out of my buddy's place at exactly 4 a.m. to a bright, starry night. When I walked out, something caught my eye to the left of me. That seems to be a common thing I've noticed in these stories too, to the left. I looked over and saw a bright blue, yellow, green, white, orange, strobing, flashing light floating silently to the left. I stood in awe at it, and I didn't want to go grab anyone because I didn't want to miss anything. I watched as it passed in front of the moon behind my friend's house and saw the outline of the craft. It was a teardrop sunflower seed type shape, and the craft seemed to have the lights being transmitted from the top half of it. That sounds beautiful. It was almost as if it was transmitting some type of light pattern upward. It also had a dark, thin, smooth line of exhaust that disappeared 50 to 75 feet behind it. This all occurred no less than 400 yards away from me. After it passed the moon, I ran inside and grabbed someone. You saw, but it was too far away to make out what it was. I went home, which was only a few blocks away, and looked out from the driveway in the same direction the first craft had come. I saw two dim lights slowly coming over the horizon at a slow pace, heading toward me. I then ran inside and grabbed my mother out of bed. We stood there for about 20 minutes while 5 separate crafts flew over us. First came 2, then 2 more, and then 1. All about 6 to 7 minutes apart from each other, maybe 20 miles an hour, 200 feet up, completely silent. The way that they looked from underneath was each one had a huge, bright, white lights that were maybe 30 feet across, but they were so bright, it was hard to get a good estimate. They also had a pulsating red light between the white lights that dimmed and relit. I would estimate from the size of the white lights that each craft was maybe 150 to 200 feet wide. The last craft that flew over us flew over lower and slower than the first 4 had. Then it made a noise. It let out a sound to this day that haunts me. What I could best compare is this sound. So I'm going to play this for you. Hang on a second. I'm going to unplug my mic and then I'm going to play it for you. Hold on. I'm going to turn it up so you guys let me know if you hear it. Hold on.
Okay, I'm going to watch this first one. So let's see if they'll go anywhere. That was cool.
Okay, so basically, hold on a second. Okay, you should be able to hear me again. Basically, he was saying it sounded like a bottle rocket, apparently, which is kind of crazy. And then he says that's the best sound I could find. Take those two sounds, except make it digital and multiply it by 50. It was loud. The craft did that twice. These craft flew directly over us, and I believe that the sound was an acknowledgement. Whatever was piloting it knew we were watching it, kind of like a hello. I immediately started crying, and I had no idea what I was looking at or what I had just heard. The second big experience I had occurred a couple weeks later. I was standing in my driveway smoking a cigarette, listening to my iPod, somewhere around 2 a.m. I decided to pause my iPod to turn on the back light, waved my hand over it a couple times, making somewhat of a strobe pattern. I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything come up, but I got that feeling of being watched. I looked up, and directly above me was a trapezoid-shaped craft with round edges that had a dark red and black pulsating glowing outline. like flowing electricity. It wasn't even 75 feet up. I could have hit it with a rock. I stood there while it hovered directly above me, completely silent for 10 to 15 seconds, while it made this kind of motion similar to the ball that Luke trained in Star Wars. It hovered side to side, front to back in a smooth motion, never getting more than 20 feet away from its original position. It was extremely fascinating, but it was frozen stiff. After those few seconds, I waved one hand at it in a friendly manner. It then changed light pattern and hovered away behind my house. Upon deeper inspection, the fact that it knew that I saw it but made no effort to evade my detection makes me think it wanted me to follow it, although I was too freaked out to think about it at the time. I've seen that same craft on 3 other occasions, once again in Tuscaloosa, once in Hoover, and once in Bessemer. The time I saw it in Hoover was at an apartment complex at the top of a huge hill with a great overlook. It was nighttime and I was with my friends. Over the overlook I saw a gray craft facing my direction that looked similar to a Hoth fighter. Forgive the Star Wars references, they say in parentheses. And as soon as I saw it, it took off to the right, silently and extremely quick. The times in Bessemer and Tuscaloosa, the trapezoid shape appeared in the sky solid white, stretched to twice its length. Then the bottom shot up to the front like it hit light speed or something. I do frequently see what I like to call streaks. They look like shooting stars, only very low. They move slower, but they still have tails that stream behind them. They can also appear in many different colors. One strange story one night is when I had a dream in Tuscaloosa. In the dream, I couldn't hear or see anything, but I could feel things. I was laying on something cold, and I felt what seemed like rubber between my legs around my junk. That's what he wrote. It was very strange to me, and since a lot of people who report abductions report sperm and eggs being taken for breeding programs. The next morning, I went to let the dog out in the backyard, which was very small. To the left of the patio, there was a solid white ring in the grass that was maybe 8 to 10 feet wide. I showed my mother, and she told me that she heard a noise that woke her up the night before, but she had just dismissed it. Another extremely confusing experience I had occurred in my driveway in Tuscaloosa. To give you an idea of where this occurred, look up Shelton State Community College. The house was less than a quarter mile from the campus in the Englewood neighborhood. It was nighttime and I heard the static that I could compare to a jet. I looked over and directly above the community college was a light blue slit in the sky. I would say it was maybe 200 yards long, completely vertical, and had what looked like white electric currents coming off both sides of it. I looked at it, and maybe about 25 white things shot out of the slit to the left, one at a time, at a quick pace, leaving the trail behind it that I previously talked about. After they passed, the bottom of the slit went upward until the slit closed, and it made a strange sound. Then it was gone. I've also had a bunch of experiences with orbs, some solid lit that float across the sky or move in strange patterns, and some that brighten up to great intensity and then fade as they pass. After that first big experience, I started doing some research because I was so confused. I understand that I've had an abnormally large amount of experiences, and I honestly can't tell you why. I wish I could. I found a type of UFO witness called a contactee. These people are similar to abductees, except they are kept up with. I have no idea why I've had so many experiences, and I have only listed a fraction of them. My best guess would be that since I have acknowledged the presence of whatever I was seeing, it decided to keep up with me. It's kind of a gift and a curse. There are so few people that I can talk with about it and be taken seriously. I want to seek hypnotherapy to see if there might be anything else I could uncover. That would be fascinating. I wish that person would write a book about all the experiences, because I almost read a book reading that story. Oh my gosh, is anyone still here? Rubber around his junk, eh? Yeah, you tuned back in just in time. I don't know if you weren't here. Imagine the PSD you would have after. Yeah, I know. Like anything in the sky, you'd be like, hit the deck. And you probably would never sleep at night. You would only sleep during the day. Which swishy ishy. Hey. I would think that what's weird is why would they show up at night with the lights on them when you can clearly see them? Like, wouldn't they show up during the day in broad daylight when it seems like they could hide better in the middle of the day. That's the funny thing. When I first started growing out my beard, my mom said I looked like a Wolverine, but then my friend Andrew said I look like a saber tooth, and then my mom came up with Saberine. Oh, that's a cool story. I'm going to sound creepy, but friends would call me Saberine for years. Isn't that one of the X-Men? Am I wrong? Or is that Wolverine I'm thinking of? It's because I have a deep convos today. Oh, deep. I thought you meant deep voice because I'm. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do one more, and then I have to call it quits because I could feel it bearing down on me. You could hear I'm starting to get more congested as we're reading. It's so confusing to me. And I think it's because of the weather here. Like it's raining here 2 days after Christmas, and it snowed 2 days ago, and then it melted away. Now it's raining outside, and it's probably 40, 50, 40 some degrees outside. So this constant back and forth is really messing with allergies. If you have allergies, you live in Michigan, I'm feeling you. All right. Number 35, and the last one for today. This says, well, let me make sure it's a good one. Let's end on a good one. Okay, it attached images, but the images you can't see. Let me see. Oh, wait, yes, they did. Okay. So I'll show them to you in a minute. They made drawings of what they saw, but they didn't take a picture. But everyone that I've heard of, when they take a picture, it doesn't turn out anyway. So, number 35. Maybe 8 or 10 years ago, I was with my dad and younger brother returning home to my mom's house. So this must be England, Britain, somewhere. When we were driving along this road with forest on either side. My dad noticed it first and said, look at that, pointing up through the sunroof, and maybe, okay, this is a repeat also, so we're not going to read this one. Wow. Okay. Number 36. We're skipping that one entirely. No photos so far. So in Edray, West Virginia, one night a few years back, my friend who was driving and I were taking his girlfriend home when he decided to take the long way home. As we're driving along this fairly deserted back road, I began to zone out and stare at this blinking red light off in the distance and casually think to myself, I wonder when they built a cell phone tower all the way out here. When suddenly it blinks and is dramatically closer than it was just a moment earlier. At this point, my friend points it out and stops in the road. It blinks once more and is directly in front of us and over top us. The red light is so bright it floods the car in deep scarlet. I lean forward so I can see directly into the light. In that brief moment, I feel a flood of negative emotions. The closest description I can offer is to that of being naked under a giant microscope and having every pore examined thoroughly. I then look away from the light to my friend and ask him to drive. He barely responds, apparently in a similar state. Then he snaps out of it and starts driving. As we get a little ways down the road, I notice that the red light isn't fading and the interior of the car is still clearly lit by it. I look out the window and to my horror, the light is following us and does so for approximately 1 to 2 miles. The light unexpectedly veers off to the left again and comes down to ground level in a patch of trees adjacent to the road. My friend stops the car again and continues to stare at it and abruptly declares he's going to let it get out and look at like he's in some sort of trance. So he opens the door and I grab his arm and tell him if he does get out, I will be in the driver's seat and I will leave him and that we had to leave that instant. He looks at me and seems to come to and punches the gas so hard the tires lose traction and spin. The light remained stationary as we rode away, but I've never looked at the night sky the same. Holy crap. But wasn't almost abducted? I think it's because of the time zone that we're in. The Eastern Standard. You know what I mean? Which is where I'm at, is the Eastern Standard Time Zone. So, but I like Schmeister's from UK somewhere. And Bernadette, well, I guess everybody can say where they're from, but Schmeister's from far, far away. Let's see. I was trying to convince my wife to move out west. I've spent a lot of time out there, and it would be nice to work year-round. Oh, are you in a trade that is seasonal? Depends on the year, but if it's really bad, my husband will get a lot of time off in the winter when it's really, really cold. I remember, it was probably when we first moved to this house, which was 5 years ago. But this is our 6th winter here. Maybe it was the 2nd winter here. There were some days where everybody had to stay home because no one's cars would start. And it was pointless to do anything because there was nothing you could do with frozen water lines. So, ooh, wow. UK, fancy, mate. Oh, and cats, Mexico. England, okay. Because England and Britain are on the same island, so I get it sort of right, and I get it a little confused. Me too. I also want to see Ireland, Scotland, and all that. I would love to just take a month and just explore everything, which is probably impossible, but I believe the impossible can be possible. Which is probably why I gravitate to stories like alien encounters and things like that. Yeah, you do. La Lorena. Ooh, has anybody saw that movie? Did it come out yet? Oh, Chupacabra. Oh, that's not Mexico, is it? That's like, that's like in the New Mexico area, isn't it? Chillicothe. England is in Britain. Britain is like calling North and South America Americas. Okay, I got ya. La Lorena. I don't know if it's out here yet either. I remember seeing the preview, but I don't know if the movie is out. I want to say it is, but I don't know. I don't know. Huh. But, I mean, North America and South America aren't even part of the same continent. But isn't England and Britain in the same continent together? That's why it's a little confusing. There's just a line on the map, unless I'm also not understanding that correctly. Britain in itself is a Roman term as far as I know. Huh. We learn so much in these chats, don't we? Wow. Bernadette, you have lived everywhere. I mean, Colorado's beautiful. Hawaii. You know how I feel about that. It's beautiful. Illinois is just another Ohio from what I've experienced. I really don't like Chicago. I had to go there last year for work. And we took an Uber everywhere, and which I would highly recommend. I will not personally drive there. No way. Not only are the people that drive crazy, people just walk right in front of the cars. Like, they don't even look. It's almost like they want to get hit by a car. Anyway, so. Oh, I got you. Okay. And it was cold. We went in February, so it was really cold. So that was awesome. New video up by Mr. Saberine later today or tomorrow. I have 1 and 2 things to post on Patreon, my Patreon, and then I'll have a video for you guys on Saturday. I don't know if Patreon will get one today, but I know that you'll get one Friday, and I'll probably have to space it out to Sunday just so I don't lose my voice entirely. Yeah, Chicago's scary. Depends on where you're at in Chicago too, I think. You did? I like to give everybody like stuff you can't get on YouTube. And when I figure out how to make videos on there that you can only see on Patreon, then I will. But as far as I know, you can only link a video because a video has to be super, super short to post it. You can only upload like so many megabytes to Patreon, and then it won't let you. UK includes England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. Oh, okay. Family friend was just murdered in Chicago. Oh my God. Had to get a permit and close part of Roosevelt Street downtown by the CVS Target. God. Chinatown is scary. Creeps McPasta, loved one of my comments. Congratulations. Switchy Ishy, yes, Paul. Mr. Saberine, a few reasons I'm not worthy of people pledging any money to me. Oh no, we're not. No, don't say stuff like that. I think one thing is that if you're going to do Patreon, you have to get them exclusive stuff. Like I've seen people that do Patreon, and to each their own, but they just give them early access to what's going to be on YouTube. And they have a ton of patrons. But I feel like if you're going to pay for something, I want you to get something only you're going to hear. I think that I owe that to my patrons. Yeah. Oh, that would be cool. I know in the future, I don't know when, I'm going to collaborate with your maker. I know that somebody asked to do that. I don't know what it will be, but he said if I'd like to collaborate, he would be down. And I was like super excited that he said that. So I'm like racking my brain because I haven't collaborated with anybody in a really long time. The last 2, I think, were you, Saberine, and Mortis Media. I mean, as far as a back and forth on both channels. I've done audio for a lot of other people, but it's not like Mortis and Saberine. That's how I taught. Mortis Media taught me the right way to do a collab so that both people, gain from it, and that you make sure that you link both channels and back and forth. But anyways, I'll never collab with King Spook ever again. Oh no, why? Yeah, Schmeister, I want to. I'm just trying to think of something that he would want to do. You know what I mean? I can't talk about it, Justin. I wasn't supposed to say anything last time, so shh. Shh. When I can say something, I will, but I can't say anything else. Sorry. That's legally, I was told that. Okay. So, anyways, what happened with King Spook, Mr. Saberine? I want to know that, so maybe DM me later. You didn't link my channel in the description of the video we did together until I confronted him about it. Oh, no. Was he being intentionally cruel, or did he just forget? YouTube is about the only watched entertainment I participate in. Yeah, me too. Like, for one, I always want to learn something new. And that's what started YouTube really gaining momentum. 2, I want to hear stories, narrated, short stories. And 3, there's a few people where I just enjoy, like, when they vlog. It's not that they do anything particular interesting. They're just friendly people who I like to have on in the background, or sometimes I'll occasionally just sit and watch them, but rarely do I sit and watch anything. Yeah, that's a bummer. Second of all, he backed out of his end of the deal to do a collab with me for my channel because it wouldn't get him traffic. Oh. Yeah, they say usually, that's why I never ask bigger YouTubers to collaborate, because they say you should collaborate with people that are near your channel size because otherwise it doesn't really benefit the bigger channel. That's why I never asked any of the bigger ones. I've asked Unit just because we've worked together a lot on stuff. Otherwise, I would have never just sent him a message and asked to work with him, because I would feel like that would be wrong. But your maker was tweeting when he got demonetized. He had a bunch of people tweeting, help my demonetization. My dog just crap on me. Whew. But anyways, he was retweeting for me, and he helped my channel get remonetized. And I was grateful for that. But he said anytime you want to collab. So I'm sticking him to it. But I also owe him a big favor, because I feel like if he hadn't have tweeted that, my channel wouldn't have gotten remonetized. So I feel like I owe him a favor, not the other way around. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Third dude left me on read for months before he finally responded. Oh, read? Oh, he read the email. Oh. Yeah, Mortis Media helped. Like, it took me a whole year to get to 1,000, and then I collabed with Mortis Media in June of 2017, and I gained 1,000 subscribers from that. It was insane. Just because he really promotes the other person. Like, that's why I'm like, if you're on here and you have a channel, let everybody know so they can hear. So I feel like there's never enough. Like, I could listen to stories all day long. I really could. I'm kind of bummed there's not more women, though, because I mean, it doesn't make it doesn't make it easier for me if there's less women. You'd think it would be the opposite way, but it's not. Kind of get buried in the shuffle, I think. But anyways, yeah, isn't that how a lot of you guys came from that? I'm sorry, Mr. Saberine. And you and I will be collabing in the future too, because you're writing something. But I think we should do something else in the meantime anyway. But DM me, because I feel like I'm going to forget, because I feel like my brain's getting a little cloudy right now. And on that note, oh, I always listen to this kind of content while I work. Black Eyed Blonde is great too. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And she's great for promoting other channels as well. No, I didn't mean to leave her out. There's a few others too, but I'm seriously, ooh, it's a sausage fest. I forget about that. Very Scary Godmother. And then the Ghoulish Gal, she's got a lot of subscribers too. She live streams a lot, I've noticed. What's weird is I only go to a few people's live streams, and then I feels like I always get cut off for some reason. So sometimes I'll go back and listen if they leave them up. Forget how I discovered your channel. Let's see, Joy Sparkle. I can't remember. I know that I was looking when we first collabed. It was for a Halloween special. Nope, we had already collabed before that. I liked the Halloween special that I did. It was 2017, and then you did a story for that. That was a really cool story, and then I liked the footage that I found for it. Like, for me, if I can't find the right music and footage with the story, I'm not happy with it. I want it to be an audio and visual clicking combo, if that makes sense. But my favorite is Duchess here. Aww. Yes, she does. Lily Nation is good too. I feel like I'm failing these people by not remembering to mention them, but yeah. I need to make a oops, Creeks and Peaks. Is that a channel? Oh. Mortis Media, Darkness World, Let Us Read, and You Are the Scary True Stories. Oh, well, there's those are the ones that you listen to, Phantom? Oh, yeah. Me and Marbot did a lot of collabs together. Oh, well, I'm not my favorite YouTube channel. And right now, I'm like eyeball deep in cricket videos. So if you didn't know, I got one for Christmas. And if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. Because you can. Anyways, I'm not going to start talking about it because I'm not going to stop talking about it. You know what channel, if they come out with a video, I drop everything. And it's usually because they hardly ever come out with them lately, and that's Lazy Masquerade. He was one of them that when he was telling stories, it scared the shit out of me. And then your maker and Busta, and that's how I found Unit. It's like there's a chain of events. And then the first one that asked me to collab, the very first person was Celestial Nor, and then right after that was Goodnight Goosebumps. That was really, yeah. I found you on a mega collab with Black Eyed. Yes, yes. A lot of them don't do it anymore, though. I don't think there's a lot of really small channels that gave up because they just felt hopeless. Because it can be really exhausting. And when someone says a mean comment in your videos, when you're still learning your cadence, the way you tell stories, or you're still working out the kinks, or maybe that story wasn't that good or whatever, and then someone chooses to attack it and you're not used to letting it roll, it can really affect your desire to put content out, because who wants to put content out for people? Number one, you're not getting paid. Number two, it takes a lot longer when you're first, hey Element, when you're first coming out, it's really hard because you're learning all this stuff as you go. But even when you get it down and somebody comes on and they're just a dick to you, I mean, now it's just entertaining. It's like, well, that's fucking nice of you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come here and be a straight up asshole to me. That's wonderful. A lot of people like to hide behind their keyboard. Those are people that I believe live in a basement of their mother's house, surrounded by cereal bowls that they haven't washed and probably don't contribute rent or to the electric bill. I'm just guessing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But if you're going to be that person, don't go attack someone and then just hide behind your keyboard like a little devil that you are. Yeah. Don't. You know, some of mine I've taken down just because I don't want anyone else to have access to them, because a lot of them I wrote myself in the beginning. But don't be ashamed of growth. That encourages other people to try harder, and it also lets people know how far you've come. I also noticed that a lot of people that are new to channels don't ever look at the dates of the stories. Like when I first started Serial Killer Saturday, I did it really like this. I was trying to sound scary, but this guy who's made several comments, I think I've hid them because I just got sick of seeing them, was like, lose the sexy voice next time. There's no, and I was trying to sound scary. I was never trying to sound sexy. You know, there's a scene in a movie that I think is the essence of how I feel about bullies or trolls. And it's from, ironically, what the heck is that movie? Hers, His, and Ours. Did you ever see that movie? She had like 9 kids and he had like 10 kids or something. They got married. It was an old movie and then they remade it. And the one lady had a bunch of adopted kids and they were getting bullied at school. And so they told all the siblings and they all stood there and the bullies looked scared or whatever. And they said, you know what stops bullying? And the bully said, what, conversation? And like, no, ass whooping. And that's the best way to sum them up. Because I tell you what, when you stand up to a bully, don't ignore a bully. It only makes them want to bully you more. You have to do something to protect yourself. And it's called self-preservation. It's an innate primal thing that's built into you. Defend yourself. Do not let people talk to you like garbage. Yes. I would try to sound like I was dead inside on my first few narrations. Sometimes I just do sound dead. I think it's hilarious when people say that, but I'm just reading it. Like right now, my voice sounds a little deeper than normal, I think, because it's a little, my throat's a little raw. Hey, yeah, yours, mine, and ours. But that's one of my favorite. Why would you value someone else's opinion about yourself? Oh, no. Don't take advice from someone that won't take mine. My rule is I don't take advice from someone that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. First of all, like when you become a parent and all of a sudden everyone's going to tell you how to be a better parent, fuck them. You have to trust your gut. Like you can take bits here and there of advice that people give you, but that's not what you have to do. Of course, if your child is running a fever of 103 for more than 24 hours, get them to a doctor. Probably less than that. But, you know, don't let people bully you in any manner. Hello, Melissa Gerber, sorry. I know that you're just tuning in, but I'll leave this up so you can hear. But we read alien abduction stories. I think we read around 30 some of them, and there's a bunch more to go. So I'm debating on whether or not to do a video with that. Maybe me, Mr. Saberine, and I can collab on that. I separate trolls from bullies. Trolls are clever. They trick people into saying something. Yeah, but you know what? It's still a form of it, and they all need to get their butts whooped in somewhere. Yeah, but hey, now I've noticed that if someone says something crappy on my videos, somebody in the comments will usually say something. But you know what? I just don't want the negative energy, so I'll just hide their comments. So, you know, I don't need it. Nobody else needs to see it. I know I'm not perfect. I'm not up here trolling on my 1 million subscribers. And even if I had 1 million subscribers, I wouldn't feel like I was the goddess of anything. I'm the goddess of my own life. Anyway, I feel like the cold's making me saying things and think weird things. So we're going to wrap it up now. So if you're new here, go back and listen. And some of them are pretty interesting stories, I think. I do wish there would be more photographs, but again, most photographs are grainy and not really great in the first place. So, but I want to thank everybody for coming and listening. And sorry, we recorded something Christmas Eve and it just wasn't good. I'm like, I can't put that on the channel. I sneezed a bunch of times into the microphone. And then before that, we weren't really talking, but we were looking at a bunch of stuff. So I was recording the screen while we were talking, but I thought it was too boring. So I didn't. So we're going to wrap it up and you guys will have, what is today? Thursday. So you guys will have a video for me on Saturday. My patrons will have something on Friday and Sunday now. And the schedule will be switching up. Starting next week will be one live stream, one pasta, and then like it'll be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is how I'm going to do that, I believe. Of course, isn't that when Mr. Creepypasta puts out stuff? And I definitely don't want to try to compete with that. So I'll do it at a different time than he does. Anyway, maybe I should do Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. You guys, I'll do a poll and you guys tell me. It's just Boaz. Hello, I'm new here. We're going to wrap it up, Boaz, but I'm going to leave it up so you can go back and listen because we did alien abduction stories, which were pretty good. And since thank you. Yes, thank you. I should do more funny ones. Those were really fun to do, actually. So we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to say thank you guys for coming. And if you're new here, then you don't know that this is not sarcasm, but it's how we say goodbye in my house. And it's a little bit of a, we make a little fun of the Kardashians. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not being mean. We're just going, bye. See you next year. Bye. Bye. Bye.